Eminem has announced his retirement in 2019.
Surprise album Kamikaze is on a crash course for a lot of artists. First up, he continues his assault on the new generation of rappers.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. 2019 has already been quite an eventful year for rappers, with many big songs coming out of nowhere and just as many rappers are getting arrested for a variety of crimes. But could the biggest story of the lot be that Eminem is finally going to hang up his rap mic? Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 6. Why retirement makes sense for Eminem right now.
And then even if you kind of don't feel that way, you're already kind of formed your opinion in front of all your friends.
In all manners of celebrity life, there are a few simple truths. But one of the hardest ones is to accept when you're starting to decline, and you feel as though you need to keep on going to prove that you can. This happens a lot in the sports world, but it can also happen in the movie/TV industry, and yes, of course, the music industry itself. Many stars have tried to hold on to their celebrity status in one form or another, or even trying to hype up their older fans to try and get their support a few more times just to show that they can still perform when they really can't. The wise ones, though, see it when they're already on the top, or still on the top after a long time, and realize that it's time to step back and appreciate what you have and have gotten, and thus step back or just straight up step out. So which one of these is Eminem? Ironically, it's a little bit of both, because before August of 2018, the time when his last album came out, a lot of people were wondering if Eminem had anything left to give. His last few albums, especially Revival, weren't very well received, so it seemed as though Eminem needed to be put out of pasture, if you get my drift. But then when Kamikaze came out, it was like a revelation of sorts. Suddenly, Eminem wasn't only back, but he was back to form. He was Slim Shady again. Kamikaze took the charts and hit #1 in multiple ways, and we're still talking about everything that came from that album almost a year later.
Ready? I'll tell you, I had a clip ready. I heard Kill Shot, and I put that back in the holster. I'm like, oh, word. All right.
But does that mean that he should be going back to his career? Well, not necessarily. For much like an aging quarterback who got that final Super Bowl win, he needs to accept that this was probably his last rodeo and move on. Unless, of course, you're Brett Favre and the rules obviously never apply to you. Because with this album and certain other recent collaborations he did prove that he still has it and that he's still one of the kings of rap. But what else is there really to prove for him? I mean, when you really look at the life he's had, there's honestly no other reason for him to keep on going and rap in regards to the microphone other than stroking his own ego. He's done it all, and now he should probably go and do something else. And really, there's nothing wrong with that. Number 5. The life and success of Eminem.
You know, my whole career, especially in the beginning, but even still to this day, is always to try to get a reaction out of Dre.
The early parts of life for Eminem were anything but easy, which tends to fit the mold of being a rap artist, if we're gonna be honest here. But for him, Marshall Mathers, life sucked pretty much from the beginning due to his father leaving the family and refusing to talk to Eminem later on in life, and his mother not being able to provide for them when he grew older.
And everybody knows in his lyrics he can cut anybody down in a second. And that's his weapon.
So thus, they had to move around a lot as she couldn't hold down a job. Eminem has noted multiple times how this was a very dark time for him, mainly because he moved around up to 4 times a year depending on what his mom was doing or not doing with a job. Moving is always hard, but when you're a kid and you're moving multiple times a year, it downright sucks. And by his own admission, school was like torture to him because he always felt like an outsider no matter where he went. The only thing he clung on to was that he was good at one subject, English. I found out that no matter how bad I was at school, and no matter how low my grades might have been at some times, I was always good at English. I just felt like I wanted to be able to have all these words at my disposal, my vocabulary at all times, whenever I need to pull them out. You know, somewhere they'll be stored, like locked away. He clung on to that, but eventually during his time in Detroit, he went and joined the underground rap circuit, testing his mettle in rap battles and proving that he had skills. He would eventually go and make his first mixtape, which was picked up and listened to by none other than Dr. Dre. Dre knew that Eminem had potential, so he honed it for 2 years, and then the rest of that, as I may say, is history. So heading to his music career that he's accomplished a lot in. But what do you all know that he's done? If you put have a #1 song, he's had that multiple times in fact. If you put have a #1 album, he's had a large succession of those. Make a lot of money? Eminem is currently valued at $210 million in net worth. Have a lot of awards? Well, he's got Grammys galore, and an army of other awards from various institutions. World records? Well, he's got them, including being the record holder for the best-selling musical artist of all genres in the world from 2000 to 2010. And if you don't understand what that means in terms of music all over the entire planet. Eminem, a white rapper, was #1 for 10 years. Not even Drake, with the role that he's been on recently, can even claim that. So when you look at this as a whole, you'll notice that Eminem has done so much in just under 20 years. He basically started his career in 2000, and most musicians would do anything for a fraction of that kind of success. And yet Eminem did it in his way, with a few exceptions of course, and he got everything that came with it. Most times singers have to find the motivation to keep on going, whether it's to make another #1 single or album, album, or to beat out someone to become the top dog in the music industry, or to prove that the haters are wrong. While Eminem could technically fight to do that first option, it's not going to have the same meaning as it did when he was just starting out his career. I mean, the second album had 19 million sales. So what is there left for Eminem to accomplish that would make him feel good? What else does he truly need to accomplish? And the honest to goodness answer may be just not a dang thing. I mean, sure, you could try and get another Grammy. It'd be his first in a while, but it'd just be another award on his wall. And what little validation would it give him? Because he would just be pressured to perform it again and see if he can keep on going. The success of Eminem is undeniable, and it'd be in the history books for some time to come. So why not just let all the rappers of today do their thing and let himself know that he was the inspiration of many of them? Well, of course, that's easier said than done, given who is out there right now. Number 4. Eminem versus the mumble rappers.
He was like, Lil Xan, Lil Pump imitate Lil Wayne. And I was like, yeah, I definitely imitate Lil Wayne.
Objectively, there are always going to be groups of people that you hate. It can be anything from politicians to noisy neighbors, dentists, don't get me started on dentists, egocentric celebrities, and on it goes. There's always that one group of people that just rubs you the wrong way and it'll make you angry when you even just think about them. For Eminem, that group of people is mumble rappers. Mumble rappers are a new breed of rap stars that have been going on for the last 5 years or so, and technically longer. It's kind of hard to pin down when exactly they started, and for many of the legacy rappers, or as they like to refer themselves, lyrical rappers, they don't really like these new kids and their styles. Mainly because for lyrical rappers, the songs that they themselves sing are meant to be stories. They're supposed to be conveying emotions, feelings, messages, and they're meant to connect with the listeners on many levels. But for mumble rappers, it seems as though they're trying to focus more on trying to spark controversy and having very basic lyrics and beats. And if you compare a classic Eminem song to something like a song from Lil Pump or 6ix9ine, you'll hear exactly what the difference is, and it's quite drastic. And when it came to Kamikaze, Eminem loaded up on every piece of ammo that he had against the entire mumble rap genre and blasted them back to back to back to back to back. You get the idea. This wasn't just a shot across the bow. It was a declaration of war. He wanted them gone, and he was willing to try and wrap them out of existence. Granted, it didn't work, as many mumble rappers are still around doing their thing, but it was still a powerful message. But how long did he keep on focusing on trying to attack mumble rappers? Well, he recently teamed up with Logic for a song that had plenty of shots against mumble rappers. And it was good because time had quite passed since Kamikaze. But if Eminem keeps on trying to jam his hate of mumble rappers down our throats, it probably won't end well. He's gotten his hate out into the world and made it clear where he stands. And it's probably best to back off while on top than become a broken record. Number 3. He's had crushing lows after record highs before.
I came out, I relapsed, and then, the proof thing happened, and then I kind of just went way overboard, yeah.
So as I noted before, from 2000 to 2010, Eminem was the best-selling artist in the world in the entire genre, that is music. However, from 2011 to about 2018, the hype wasn't as powerful. His music was still good to an extent, but it was clear that something had changed in Eminem. Mainly, he had a bout with substance abuse, and it almost costed him his life. He even admitted that if it was just a few hours later when he was taken to the hospital, he would have been gone. So why does that matter? Well, after the event, he went through a major transformation, not just in health sense, but in mental sense. He admitted that before he wouldn't be conscious of the way his songs had affected people. The song Stan stands out for an example of this. But after the event, his outlook on music started to change, and thus his style of rap began to alter too. He was still doing what he did best, but he did it in a way that was more positive or encouraging, such as with the album Recovery. It all did good, mainly because people were happy to support him in his return back to music, and then he made a couple more albums along with this line of thinking, but then fans started to think that this wasn't the music they wanted to hear from Eminem. And by that time his album Revival came out in 2017, fans just weren't having it. Nor were the critics, and Eminem was ticked, not because the fans weren't liking his music, but because of why they weren't liking his music. The fans gave fuel to his rivals in the rap world, and so they started to attack Eminem as well. This led to Eminem going on a hiatus, with no one knowing what exactly he was doing or what he was going to do, and so on and so forth. Now, we all know that the result of this was Kamikaze, but that's not the main point that we need to notice here. The point I'm making is that during that period of years, Eminem wasn't treated like Eminem anymore. He was put under a ton of scrutiny, and many wondered if he would ever recover. And this came after what might be argued as the greatest 10 years in history of music, professionally anyways. With Kamikaze, he was back at number 1, and people were speaking positively about him again. He got what he wanted, vindication. If he continues, he risks going back to what happened with Revival and some of his other tracks, and he might not be able to handle that in a second time very well. So number 2, how can you top Kamikaze? In music, there are 2 incredibly hard things to do. One is making a number 1 song or album, and the second hardest thing to do is to try and do it again. As noted, Eminem has done that multiple times over the course of his career, but Kamikaze, it had a different intent. He got number 1 because he literally let out all of his frustration and anger over anyone and everyone who was ever doubting him, criticizing him, or anyone who had ever felt he had beef with in his career. In one album, he let it all loose, all that pent-up aggression that he had, and turned it into a powerful album. Yes, it had its controversy, but it also had its conviction. And fans noticed. But that's also part of the problem. All that aggression is now out of him now. And one of the biggest motivations to do the album was to show everyone up, and of course he did. So what is his motivation for making another album? To prove it again? Well, that's kind of redundant. And even if he tried, a lot of his songs were about dissing other people and artists, so if he does that again, it'll be seen as bashing, especially if it's not creative and repetitive. He needs to be fresh, and that can be hard to do even for the best of rappers. Now, give him enough time, and sure, Eminem could easily whip out another hit album, but it doesn't need to be in 2019. So why not take a little retirement? And should you need a return, you know you can do in your own terms. Number 1. You want Slim Shady? You got him. That line is probably one of the most important statements from the Kamikaze album, a proclamation that the rapper that fans love is now back. It's easy to just jump in and think that the best way to continue success is by giving the fans what they want, but sometimes giving the fans exactly what they want can be very harmful, and I soon may realize that what they wanted isn't exactly what they remembered it to be. What's to say that Slim Shady couldn't just be back for one album, prove Eminem really never lost it, and then move on? There's no rule or law that says that he has to continue, and Eminem should take this as a success and revenge if you really think about it. Just go on and retire. He's done all that, he's done enough, and he can now just go and do other things, which is perfectly fine too. And so there you have it. A look at why Eminem might just retire in 2019. So what do you think of this decision that lies before Eminem? Will he retire, or will he keep on making music until he just can't anymore? And of course, which do you think is the best option for him? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on King Trending. A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.